Yeah, it's not located on any map. It's located right here. Right here. Capital M, capital T, men's time. There's trust and friendship between men. There's no deals going south. There's no lawyers there. Only real men. And a few good dogs.
Dog.
Hey, he's learning. There we go. Episode 15 today, fellas. We got a packed episode for you. We're talking about some blockbuster fights coming up on the horizon. And by horizon, I mean this Friday and Saturday. So it's going to be an exciting weekend. Obviously, we got Jon Jones and Stipe. Chase, where did you go?
Gone?
No, you're back.
You're back.
You're back. He's back. Stipe, how do you pronounce it? Stipe
Miocic.
Miocic, yeah.
And the obvious spectacle of Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Obviously, before we dive in, as you can notice, Baker looks a little bit different here. He's got a lot more handsome. No, it's not Baker. We have our first guest appearance on the show. My good buddy, Austin. Austin, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm great, man. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this episode. I'm excited for this weekend in general. And, we're going to get into some good stuff today.
Yeah, Austin and I go way back to 2023.
Yeah.
We actually went to separate schools together. So we figured it'd be a great time to bring him on. No, Austin and I, we're friends through our amazing girlfriends. Thank you.
Yep.
Shout out to them for bringing us together.
Yeah. Subtle brag for you and I that we both have girlfriends.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too big headed about it, but it's pretty cool.
Well, you heard last episode with Chase trying to power his way through Tinder. So Chase is still on the hunt. No, we've obviously met through our girlfriends, so thank you to them. You've been following the fight scene longer than I have. I don't know about longer than Chase, and I know you have some great insights that we've talked about before. So I feel like this episode made sense to bring you on, so we can discuss these fights. So welcome to the round table, brother. Cheers to you. Cheers to Chase. I know you don't drink, but Chase is also a huge follower of the fight scene and has a ton of knowledge, so I know you guys will hit it off. But let's talk about the first fight coming out Friday.
Yeah. Oh, so we're jumping into Paul Tyson first?
Yeah, I feel like it's only
the important one, right?
Yeah, the most important one.
Well, what's great about this fight is my first note for this is does this fight actually matter? So
is that a question to us?
I mean, kind of, yeah. Because I kind of go back and forth. So, do you actually care?
Chase?
I mean, I don't know what kind of limits that they put on the fight. I'm pretty sure when Tyson fought Roy Jones, there had to have been something about, if I'm going to hit you in the face, I'm not going to hit you full force.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll hit you full force to the body. But I mean, I don't know. Is it a publicity stunt? Yes. Is it going to be real? Who knows? But it would be absolutely fantastic if Mike Tyson hangs it up finally after just freaking laying him. It would be so amazing. I don't know if either of you guys saw the clips today of their like in-ring practice, but yes. Jake Paul was wearing a like chicken on his head. He had painted his hair red, like a chicken neck and things coming out.
Jeez.
Feathers in the back, and he was literally boxing with a chicken on his head. So it's good to see that he's taking it seriously. I'll try and get a picture over to Jay so we can get it in here in edit. But
dude, it's
going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
I feel like it's a clown show.
Yeah. Go ahead, Austin. The rules for this fight. So typical, professional heavyweight, like big fights are 10 to 12 rounds. This one's only 8. So 8 rounds. Typical rounds are 3 minutes. This one's only 2 minutes. and instead of your normal 10-ounce gloves, they have 14-ounce gloves. So kind of to your point of like, are they hitting each other as hard as they can? Like, I mean, they are, but that extra weight in those gloves and that extra padding takes off a lot of power. So, fights with those gloves, you see less knockouts. And when you have I don't know how old Tyson is, 50 something years old. That's probably a good call.
Gotta be.
Yeah. So, I
Throwing my
mean,
dad in the ring. My dad just turned like 58. It's like throwing him in the ring with I think Jake Paul's our age, maybe a little bit younger. He's what, 27? 20?
something like that. I mean, that's younger than me, but
Yeah, I think he's 30 actually.
Jake Paul is? No.
I don't know about. I would have
You're
to
thinking
Google
of-
it. That's how much I know about Jake Paul. I have no idea how old he is. You could tell me he was 21 years old, and I would believe you.
He kind of looks. I mean, regardless, he looks young. They've been promoting the crap out of this fight. First of all,
Botox will make you look young to some degree. So I'm sure he's had some work done.
He's 27. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, see, look at
Look
that.
at Jake Paul stand over here.
I'm a huge Jake Paul fan, and I have Jake Paul second round KOing Tyson.
Yeah,
That's my hot take, boys.
I mean, I go back and forth on this because the most entertaining outcome is Mike Tyson knocks him unconscious. That is the most entertaining outcome. That's the funniest outcome. The most likely outcome is Jake Paul wins in some way, just because he's younger, and
Tyson gets gassed.
His chin is Tyson's probably going to get gassed. You know what? It might be like a standing KO or whatever. Like referee will stop it probably like 5th or 6th round. So TKO Jake Paul 5th round. That will be, now that I'm thinking it through, that will be my guess.
Okay, I could see that. Now, do you think if Jake Paul wins, Mike Tyson tries to bite his ear?
That might be more entertaining than Tyson actually winning. That would be wild because then you would have a scenario where you could put Jake Paul in the same like aura as Evander Holyfield, which just makes no sense at all.
Do you think they kith? Do you think they're going to kith after the fight?
No, I mean I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a crapshoot.
I'll watch it. I mean, it's free on Netflix, so
if you pay for Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, you guys don't bum Netflix off of other people?
I mean, I kind of bum it off Leslie. Yeah. Like, I want to watch Leslie's, but also don't want to charge her like an extra $8 a month or whatever it is. So I just, stick to Hulu, YouTube TV.
Hulu. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch it. Is there any undercards for that?
Yeah. I think there's 7 total fights now that I'm thinking about it. Because I looked this up earlier. Several title fights, believe it or not. It's like
the janitors are fighting.
Yeah, it's like a couple women's titles. I think like the super lightweight title. I don't know. I can't exactly remember, but there are a couple like actually supposed to be good boxers on this card, and then you have the spectacle that is Jake Paul, Mike Tyson after that.
So that'll come on at 12:30, 1 a.m., something like that.
Probably so. I think it starts 8:00 Eastern. But that's when the first fight starts.
Right.
Where I haven't looked. Where are they doing it?
Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium in Dallas or Arlington.
I think I did know that, but
yeah, I mean, 80,000 people are supposed to be at this thing, which is just
that's crazy
to think about.
Hopefully they don't have to deal with the sunlight like the Cowboys do.
That would be hilarious. That's how Mike Tyson loses. He gets blinded.
Well, I mean, I would definitely go see it it's Mike Tyson. Obviously, he's going to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it prime Mike Tyson? No, I think Jake Paul fights washed up people. But it's going to be entertaining nonetheless. Chase, would you sleep with Jake Paul?
I mean, I'm more of a JJ Watt guy myself.
Now let's talk about the real fights. I know you guys have a lot of notes and stuff you want to talk about, so let's go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so let me jump into The fights that I'm interested in at UFC 309 at Madison Square Garden, if you're thinking about going, just right down the road. So the first one's a heavyweight fight. Marcin Tybura versus Jonata Diniz. I think that's how you say his name.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'll mess up. So heavyweight fight on the undercard. This is pretty typical UFC matchmaking where they have a prospect in Diniz versus kind of a gatekeeper in Tybura. A guy that's been in the division for a long time but hasn't really broken into that upper echelon. So, this is a step up in competition for Diniz. They want to test him and see how he does. Diniz was actually supposed to fight Derek Lewis, which tells me that the UFC is pretty confident in his ability. So I think he runs through Tybura here.
Interesting.
Chase, any thoughts on that?
I mean, Tybura is nasty. He has some great highlights. Definitely has been caught a couple times. How you put it, he's a great gatekeeper. Has been for a couple of years now. But I hadn't realized that Denise was supposed to fight the Knockout King, man. So,
yeah.
Derek Lewis is the top of the line gatekeeper in the heavyweight division for the past 4 or 5 years. So, that's interesting that they're putting him. I hadn't really heard too much of Denise, so I'm definitely excited to see him in the ring.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he's undefeated in the UFC so far, but hasn't fought. He hasn't fought anybody ranked yet. I don't think Tybura's ranked. But still a step up in competition for him.
Absolutely.
So the next fight I want to talk about, Jim effing Miller versus Damon Jackson. If you don't know who Damon Jackson is, get in line. No one knows who he is. I mean, I think he's
smash or no?
No, pass on Damon Jackson. Smash on Jim Miller though. I mean, Jim Miller. That's the type.
Jim A10 Miller.
That's the type you bring home to your mom and also introduce to your daughter. So, some quick stats on Jim Miller. He's 41 years old.
Oh boy.
He has the record for most wins in the UFC and the record for most appearances in the UFC. So he's been a company man for a long time. Damon Jackson, I don't have any stats on him because there really aren't any. So so it's great to see UFC matchmaking because like every fight kind of has somewhat of an agenda. And sometimes the agenda is hey, this will be a fun fight that the fans will like. So the Tybura Diniz fight is prospect versus gatekeeper. I call this fight the let the legend have fun fight. So Damon Jackson, I see as a sacrificial lamb to Jim effing Miller, and I think he gets finished.
Wow. Okay. See, this is why we brought you on. You got some good knowledge.
Look, man, I've been following fights for a long, long time. Ever since I was like a sophomore in high school. And, unfortunately, haven't been able to do deep dives like this in a minute. But it's fun. It was fun preparing for this card.
You just love violence, huh?
Kinda. I mean, in a controlled way, yeah.
Controlled violence. The best kind. All right, continue. Sorry.
All right. Chase, anything on Jim Miller?
I mean, Jim fucking Miller is dude. He's electric. A couple of his last two, I'm pretty sure, were disappointing losses. Definitely his last one.
Yeah.
But yeah, just want to see him. If I don't know how long he does want to stay around, but I think he might be just searching for that high note to go out on. So if it's this weekend, go for it, Jim.
I mean this very well could be a retirement fight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think a Hall of Famer. I mean, if you get the UFC record of most wins and most appearances, and nothing else, you deserve to be in one of the wings. So,
I mean, it's kind of tough because when you think of like Sports Hall of Fame, it's supposed to be like for the absolute elite of the elite. Of kind of fighters in their era, and I mean, as great as Jim Miller has been, I mean, he's never really been like a top contender. You know, he's been close, like,
True.
top 10, top 8. He's been like kind of 2 fights away from. He was kind of 2 fights away from a title shot for a good portion of his career. But I mean, just the longevity and the kind of the entertainment he's brought to the fans. I mean, he's at least in consideration.
Right.
I would like to go back through his fight catalog and see if there's like he's had to have been involved in like, fights that have been like fight of the year or at least in contention for it before. So
definitely. I mean, he's a killer, and he a lot of times he steps in that ring, it's either him or the other guy is going out. So it's just that's why he's a fan favorite. That's why he's still around. That's why the UFC keeps signing contracts. That's the only way you're able to. You're either winning or the fans fucking love you. So
exactly. So all right. So next fight, not as fun, but Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. So I call this fight the "Is there anything left?" fight. And Weidman, former middleweight champ, he's the guy that beat Anderson Silva, first guy to really do it. Eric Anders, I mean he was kind of fringe ranked for a couple of years, but he was a former linebacker at, I'm pretty sure it was Alabama. So that was pretty neat. I think he has a national championship ring. But he was always seen as like, oh man, he's a really fun prospect, and then he just never really worked out. So it seems like both of these guys kind of on the downswing of their career. This fight seems like a, hey, if there's anything left in the tank, we need to see it from the UFC. So I don't know who's going to win this fight. It might be that no one really wins this fight. But seeing Weidman reach the top and kind of fall from grace because he had a gruesome leg injury, I kind of want to see him go out and put on a good show for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it, Weidman wrapping his leg around his leg is one of the grossest things that you'll ever see.
The only person I know that's been on two sides of that, or both sides of that coin, because it happened to Silva against him.
Right. Yeah, which is wild. It was like the big return fight is when he did it back onto Silva. So
he broke.
It wasn't onto Silva. It was
Uriah Hall.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
That's interesting as well because so Silva breaks his leg on Weidman. Weidman breaks his on Hall. So before Weidman got into the UFC, he was the champion of, I think, King of the Cage. Do you know who he beat in that title fight? That was his last fight before he got signed to the UFC. Uriah Hall. So just like full circle moment in his career, the guy that kind of kicked off his career is the guy that essentially ended it by just wrapping his shin around him. It's crazy.
Yeah, nuts.
Low-key like when that happens, though, man. I know it sounds bad, but like, it's so cool to see, dude. It's so like when McGregor did it. What was it like his? Because he did the same thing, right?
Yeah. His ankle in I think his like third fight against Poirier.
Yeah, crazy, man. I cannot wait to watch these fights on Stream East.
Don't.
I'll pay for UFC, but I didn't know that the other fight was free. So
we can't bring attention to Stream East.
Yeah, don't bring attention to the illegal streams. Then they'll get shut down.
Open right back up. You got B-dubs.
All 12 people of this podcast, please keep that on the down low.
Yeah, please don't tell anybody.
all 5 of you that actually watch.
Yeah, the whole dozen. All right,
Baker's dozen.
Next fight. This is the don't let the super prospect lose fight. Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig, middleweight fight. And I mean, look, Bo Nickel is one guy that I'm super pumped to watch every time he walks out. Is for the UFC. This is like the equivalent of like the number 1 overall pick. Going out and facing like a playoff team for the first time. It's just like, he's so exciting, so physically talented. He's got all the potential in the world. It's just getting him enough time to properly train and enough like in-fight reps to really like make him an elite fighter. So when the UFC has a guy like this or a woman like this, they bring them on really slowly. So they'll feed him like really lower level UFC guys, just trying to build up that confidence, build up his training, build up his reps. This is the first fight where I see the name or I see the guy across from him and think like, okay, this guy can actually do some damage. Because Paul Craig he's been a UFC fighter for a minute. He's fought some good guys. He's hurt some good guys. And I think this is actually going to be a decent fight. I think Nickel ends up getting the finish, but this is the first guy that can I think he can kind of defend himself against him.
Yeah, just as long as it's a finish. Bo Nickel, definitely the prodigal son. Everybody was awaiting his arrival, and his first couple of fights were pretty dominant. I think last fight was just kind of him laying on the other guy. One decision. So hopefully he can string together some submissions and get people a little more excited about him. I think a lot of people are awaiting that ascension. They know that he's a D1 championship wrestler.
Insane.
We know you can hold a guy down for 3 minutes and walk away with a win. But we want to see some damage. We want to see some technicality and put a finish on this.
And one good thing about Nickel is that we saw in his Contender Series fight that he's got, or maybe his first Contender Series fight, he's got power too, and he when he connects he knows how to throw a punch. So I think that's what everyone's kind of wanting to see. Like, yeah, we know you can wrestle, but let's see the hands go a little bit. And
right.
Once he reaches a guy that is able to stay on his feet, that's what we're going to have to see from him. So hopefully that's this fight. If not, then he'll get another step up in competition, and it'll happen at some point.
Absolutely.
All right. So next we got Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. This is a co-main event. This is a rematch of the lightweight title fight 3 years ago. So I don't really have a name for this one. It's just a world-class talent fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking to watch high-level MMA, just two guys that know what they're doing, top of their, the elite level of their weight class, this is it. And I think, personally, lightweight is the most entertaining division to watch because it's the deepest. Your normal-sized guy, if they were to work out and cut weight, would be a lightweight fighter. So it's definitely the class with the most fighters in it. So the guys that are in the top 10 are technically the most sound fighters. So when you get a couple top 5 guys like this, it's an awesome fight. I really don't know who wins this one. Oliveira won it, I think by submission in round 2, their first fight. But I remember Chandler had him rocked in the first. So, I mean, if he connects, that can obviously happen. How these guys have progressed their last 3 years, I think they've both gotten a little worse. And that's nothing on them. I think that's just them getting a little older. So, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's kind of a coin flip. If I were a betting man, I'd put my money on Oliveira. I don't know how he gets it done, though. I
like Chandler in this one.
Yeah.
I've always been a Chandler fan. I could see him taking it. Chase?
I mean, it's like you were saying, it's going to be high class talent out the roof. I mean, Oliveira is definitely a Hall of Famer. Michael Chandler could easily get in on his accomplishments as well. So it'll be a toss-up. I like Charles in this one, so we'll see. But yeah, going to be very, very high talent, and I mean,
we might have lost you. There he is.
So
they sleeping on you, Chandler.
Career, so
they sleeping on you.
I'll sleep on him harder. I don't think there's a chance in hell that Chandler gets in the Hall of Fame, man.
I don't know about that.
And that's that's honestly, it's not a knock on his talent. It's that most of his accomplishments came outside of the UFC because he was in Bellator
Sure.
for a very long time. And when he got in the UFC, he knocked out Dan Hooker, and then he had a title fight. So it's like there was no build up to him. Like, like a guy like Dustin Poirier was in the UFC for like 8 years before he cracked into like the lightweight top 5.
Yeah.
So a guy like that, that has that longevity, has that record, has like those memorable fights against like Chan Sung Jung, Cub Swanson, like that's a guy that I could see being in the Hall of Fame, even though he never won the undisputed title. Chandler's a pretty tough sell for me. Oliveira, I could see it for sure because he did win the title, but I don't know.
Oliveira's
Sorry, Michael Chandler, I'm hating on you, but
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How chronically online would Michael Chandler have to be to find this podcast?
You get a DM from him. He's like, "Hey, listen, I heard what you said about me."
Yeah.
Oh man,
my favorite show.
All right, what you got?
All right, well, this brings us to the main event: Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic, heavyweight title. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up every time Jon Jones fights.
Oh yeah.
For awesome as this fight is, there's a lot of inactivity going into this because Jones, it's only his second fight at heavyweight at all. It's only his second fight since early 2020, and that one fight was in March 2023 when he finished Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
And Miocic hasn't fought since March of 21 when he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. So, a lot of people when people don't fight very often, they say ring rust. I think ring rust is gonna, these guys are professionals. I don't think that's going to be the case. But we really don't know exactly how they're going to look because they haven't fought very often, or at least recently.
Okay, I could see that. I could also see Jon Jones just coming out and kicking the shit out of him.
That's what I think is going to happen. Look, I love Stipe Miocic. He's a great fighter. He was a great champion. He had the record for most heavyweight title defenses, or I think consecutive title defenses, something like that. But man, when you haven't fought in over 3 years, and then you're stepping in there against the baddest man on the planet,
yeah,
that's
tough.
That's a tough task. I just
could surprise us though.
Well, it's like every time I think, yeah, maybe Stipe could pull it out. I just remember that Jones versus Gane fight where Gane is a massive human being. He's like, 6'5". He cuts down to 265. It's pure muscle. He's like, if anyone's not going to get overpowered other than Francis Ngannou, it's probably Cyril Gane. And Jones just goes in there and runs right through him. It was crazy to watch. And his first fight is a heavyweight. So
he's so entertaining, man.
I know, man. He's so intimidating. I don't know.
Jones.
Who would you rather start a family with, Jon Jones or Stipe Miocic?
Oh, that's a good
start
question.
A family with?
Start a family.
You have to pick one.
I think Miocic has a less chance of beating all of our asses, but I'd like those Jon Jones genes in my gene pool.
But you have to be the woman, so you're catching.
I don't think any of us were confused on who was going to be the woman in the relationship.
Oh man, that's funny. That's good.
That one's close. Jon Jones. I never really thought about the gene pool. Jon Jones' genes would be, that would offset my normal white guy genes that are just below average in about every category.
Can we confirm that?
But Jones kind of off the field issues. He's been in trouble with the law a couple of times, failed a couple drug tests. Miocic is a fighter. It's like,
he's a saint.
He's a good guy.
Chase likes bad boys, though. Look at him. That's the face of a bad boy lover.
Yeah. Well, you'll take Jones, I'll take Miocic, and we'll compare families in a decade and see what happens. So one thing about Miocic that kind of has me on his side for this fight is he's because he's a firefighter, and I would assume a successful one because he's still alive. Is Jon Jones tougher than fire?
I thought you were gonna say he's got a great hose on him.
No,
Knows how to handle a hose. I don't know, something along those
it's
lines.
not the gutter, dude.
I don't know, man.
No,
What was the
dude.
question?
Welcome to the show, Austin. Welcome to the show.
If Stipe fights fire and wins, I mean, Jones has to be stronger than fire. So,
Hold on, you might be onto something with this.
yeah.
I could see that. Okay.
So the UFC 309 fight fire with fire bet hammer Stipe Miocic.
You heard it
Wow.
here. Lock your
I
bets
mean,
in, boys.
He's not going to be able to have his hose out, so maybe a different story.
I might have my hose out watching a fight.
Let's start a family.
Yeah.
No, man.
Oh,
But
man.
thinking about these dudes and just how ridiculous they are, how much money would it take for you to get in the ring with one of these guys or get in the octagon with them?
Oh, dude, I don't know, man.
They going full bore, or they just fucking around with me?
No, they're not messing around. This is like standard UFC rules title fight. Maybe Mario Yamasaki's in there as a ref, so you know it's going to be a late stoppage.
I don't know, man. It would take some money, like
Yeah.
Enough to cover hospital bills.
probably.
Well,
I'd probably
I
do
think
it.
those will be covered under UFC rules anyway. Like you'll get that good insurance. You'll need
Yeah.
it.
I'd say probably 50 grand, maybe.
50
I'd
grand.
I'd probably do it for 50,000.
I think it depends on the fighter for sure, because I think there's a different level to each kind of weight class. So let's think about
Amanda Nunes, come get it. Let's get it.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
No, she would whip my ass, bro.
Yeah,
she would
exactly.
so whip my ass.
Wait, no, but Chase, like, all right.
Well,
So
how-
lowest level fighter,
Yeah.
whoever that might be, you wouldn't get in the ring with them for like $1,000.
Yeah. Like UFC bantamweight that you're going to get your ass kicked, but he's not going to shave years off your life.
Yeah.
It's all about the head movement.
Yeah.
Well, how much? What's it gonna take? I mean,
I do think all
everyone's
this
got a
is
price, brother.
I do
Everybody's
think
got a price.
all this is kind of relative to your yearly salary as a person. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a little different for everyone.
Yeah.
But
Do I have to last the whole round to get the money?
no,
No.
I mean
No.
the fight has to be stopped somehow.
Okay, yeah.
And you can't.
I'm tapping as soon as they get a little ankle hold on my big ass or something.
Okay, no bitch outs either. Like
Yeah,
true
you gotta,
submission.
like, it's
Oh,
it's
dude!
sleep.
If they're twisting my ankle, what do you mean? That's not a bitch
Well,
out. They
I
can
mean,
break
like,
my
you know,
shit.
They're not going on the ground with you, bro. They're sleeping
If
your
I
ass.
if some girl has me in a Kimura, I'm not gonna freaking no. I'm not gonna try and tough my way out of it.
No, if it's a true submission, that's fine. But like what if someone has you in full guard, you can't tap out. That would be so.
Oh my gosh!
That would be
Just
fake.
10 grand.
Full guard, top mount, just wailing on my ass.
So 10 grand, Chase.
Yeah, I'd hop in the ring for 10 grand.
That was a pretty easy answer. Might
It's
be able to go lower.
It's got to be like a feather. It's got to be like a featherweight, like 100-pound bitch,
Yeah,
a female.
Why do you think it's gonna be a female?
Like,
It's got to be a male, dude.
no, hell no.
I don't know if I'd do it.
I'm
less than
trans out
50.
here if I'm trying to fight in the UFC.
Pay set. Yeah, so I mean, like a low weight, bantamweight, featherweight, significantly less money than someone that is around our weight, like a middleweight, light heavyweight, because that guy's gonna mess you up like crazy. So what I'm thinking is there is a pattern here where you have your lower weight guy, and as you go up the weight class, it's going to require more money for me to get in the octagon with him. Because here's the thing, like a low weight guy he's probably gonna knock me out, of course. That's gonna suck. I'll survive. A guy around my weight, he's gonna shave years off my life. That's gonna suck. Jon Jones, Jon Jones, not only is he going to shave years off my life, he's going to make me shit my pants. That's how hard he's going to hit me. Like I'm going to shit. Like I'm walking into that ring knowing there's about 30 seconds left until I shit my pants in front of everyone watching this pay-per-view or stream this. So
I'd probably do it before the fight too. Like I would probably poop my pants walking into the ring, knowing I'm about to fight him.
yeah, but then I would,
and then doing it again.
Then you get knocked out while already having shit in your pants. That's a worst case scenario. Nothing good about this scenario, because if you get knocked out, at least you think, well, I don't have shit in my pants now.
That's
Sounds like
true.
average at the bar for Jay.
Yeah, you can't pre-shit your pants going into this. But, I bring all this up because there is the age-old question, would you suck a dick for $1 million?
For $1 million?
For $1 million.
I mean, I think that's an obvious yes.
I mean,
You have to pay
any
taxes
respectable
on it.
no, tax-free. Tax-free.
Tax-free, $1 million? Yeah, I'd do two, brother.
And there will never be anything tax-free in this country. So let's just say after tax, $1 million. Same thing for UFC fights when we're talking about money.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's all kind of relative to how much money you make, because if you're out there making $1 million a year, you're probably less likely to say yes to that. However, someone like me as a grad student making like $25,000 a year, that's an easy yes for me.
Yeah, I mean,
and if I'm being honest, that number's probably lower than $1 million.
Yeah, I'd probably do it for a crisp, maybe 25,000.
Yeah, dude, like for me, that's a year's salary. Tell me I can have a year's salary post-tax
for
this
one
is
dick.
sucking until completion.
Well, of course it's complete. If you're getting paid $25,000 for a blowjob,
And then what do you do with the seeds?
You know what they say, brother.
I think once it's out of the person, it is up to the other person to decide.
It
You
is
can't blow on your back.
upon
Chase.
the
You can't blow on your
recipient.
back.
Yeah, so completion has two meanings here: completion of that person and completion of the job at hand. So once that's over, yeah, your job's done. You do whatever you want to with the
Okay,
money.
they're both. Those are completed at the same time, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I bring this up because, $25,000 to do that, I'm considering it. A fight with Jon Jones, that might be higher than $25,000. So it's like, I think if you overlay these two graphs, there's a point of intersection where if there's a UFC fighter where you'd rather suck his dick than get in the octagon with him.
I hope we have some depraved oil millionaire that's going to DM you and be like, "Hey,
Look, man, no one with that kind of money is looking at me and going, "That's the one I want."
But the math hat stays on.
This is. Well, I have to turn it backwards, and I can't go all the way.
Yeah. I don't know. Some
Maybe
of
he
these.
can wear it.
What if it was the UFC fighters? Like, if you had to pick any one, Chase, whose would it be?
That's the way he was
what?"
Jim Miller. Maybe.
Sean O'Malley's. It probably tastes like Skittles.
What? I don't know, man. I feel like you're more of a Patty the Batty kind of guy.
I don't think Sean O'Malley
wow.
showers. That might be the worst one to do.
Oh God.
What would be the worst one to do?
Probably Derek Lewis. Yeah. He gets sweaty, bro. It's got to be Derek
His
Lewis.
balls get hot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Chase is still with us. Chase probably got freaked out by the conversation, and
Yeah. Chase is googling UFC fighter jets.
Yeah, he's like,
the
which
most
one?
appealing
Cutest-
one.
It's the cutest UFC fighter. Oh man, it's got to be McGregor. Well, bye Chase.
I
Let's
hope
finish
he's
this.
back on here.
Yeah, at some point. Let's finish this episode with some early college football playoff and NFL playoff. I know that's a big transition there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From
Which college football team in the playoff would you rather suck off?
the whole team. No, I mean at this point in the season, we've seen a lot of shakeups. With Georgia losing again last week.
Yeah.
Oregon's number 1 still. No,
Yeah, they are.
they're looking promising. I saw Indiana slipped up in there. Indiana's 5.
Yeah. Indiana's ranked 5th. So I can go through the current seedings as of now.
Do it.
So the teams getting a first round bye are Oregon, Texas, BYU, and Miami. Those are the top 4 ranked conference champions, or right now projected conference champions.
Okay.
Then the 5 through 8 seeds. These are the teams that will host the first playoff game for that matchup at home. We have Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana, and Tennessee.
Ooh.
And then the last 4 teams, again, all those at-larges. Then we have the last 4 teams, Notre Dame, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Boise State. Boise State being that 5th conference champion sneaking into the playoff. And I'll say sneaking in, they're ranked number 13 in the nation. They're the 12th seed.
Yeah. And what they lost last week, no?
No, they're still undefeated.
Really?
If Boise State loses, they're done for. Pretty much.
They have that one. They have what's his name? Ashton
Jeanty.
Yeah, dude's a dog. Heisman.
Yeah, man, Heisman hopeful. He is incredible to watch.
Yeah, he is.
Ever since week 1 too. I mean, for him to put together all these crazy performances all year, it's crazy to watch.
Yeah, I choose his penis.
Yeah, just out of respect.
Yeah. I think a team to watch for Colorado.
Yeah. I think they're ranked number 17 right now. So I have the first 4 out, and that is Georgia, SMU, Texas A&M, and Kansas State, and number 5 right there is Colorado. So
okay, they got to win out. I mean, obviously they're going to win out. I think they're going to win their conference. I don't know what their schedule looks like for the rest of the year. Let's look that up real quick.
I think they need SMU to lose. I don't know if they play SMU. I don't think they do. But the way it looks is in the Big 12, you have BYU, who's undefeated.
Yeah.
SMU is number 14 right now. I think they have 1 loss, and then they have Colorado.
Ooh, so Colorado has Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and those are all very winnable games for them.
Is Kansas ranked right now, or do they just fall out of the rankings?
I think they fell out.
Yeah, they fell out. They're oh god.
But I was looking at BYU and oh wait, no, SMU isn't in the Big 12, aren't they?
No, SMU's in ACC now.
Yeah, conference realignment is so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. But they beat us this year in football. Then again, what team hasn't?
Yeah, well, I'm used to seeing like BYU, SMU, like I'm used to seeing these teams and thinking like, oh yeah, they're the group of 5 teams. You know, they could sneak in. Like me seeing BYU ranked number 6 is crazy to me.
Yeah, it is wild. But for Catholics,
yeah. Well, like I wasn't alive when BYU was awesome in the 90s. So, I mean, yeah, the Big 12 is interesting this year because it's a lot of teams that you don't exactly expect to be up there. Because it's BYU, Kansas State, if I remember right, and then Colorado. So,
okay. Oh gosh, early playoff predictions.
So a couple matchups outside of the conference championships to watch for. We have Indiana, Ohio State.
Ooh.
So that number 2 versus number 5.
Interesting.
And then we have another important matchup is Georgia versus Tennessee. So the first one out versus the 8th seed right now.
Yeah, I'm over the Georgia hype this season, man.
I mean, you might have to not be over it if they beat Tennessee because I think that win would get them back in the playoff. It probably bounced Tennessee because then they would have 3 losses.
Do you think Tennessee's overrated at this point?
I don't know about overrated. It's kind of hard to say this late into the season which teams are overrated or underrated, especially in the SEC because they kind of cannibalize themselves.
Yeah.
Bama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia, they've all kind of beaten up on each other.
Yep.
All I know is that Texas is the best one out of that conference, and everyone else is just, it's very even.
Yeah, Texas looks good. They're playing good too.
Yeah. And then, I mean, shoot, the conference championships are going to have a lot of impact this year. So,
Well, you got to keep an eye on Notre Dame as well. That kid Riley Leonard from Duke, I think he's a stud. I think Notre Dame's always overrated.
yeah.
But this year they seem pretty promising.
Well, I mean, they lost to, what was it, Northern Illinois?
Yeah.
And ever since then, they've done what they needed to do to put themselves back in the playoff picture. So I'm saying, man, if they win out, they're fine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Oregon stays at the number 1 spot, regardless if they lose. I mean, I don't know because.
Well, I mean that Big Ten championship. The way I see it, it's essentially going to be Oregon versus the winner of Indiana and Ohio State.
Yep, agreed.
So I don't know how confident you are in Kurt Signetti, but it's probably going to be Ohio State.
I like Ohio State in that matchup
against
really
Oregon
do.
or Indiana.
Against Indiana.
Yeah.
Against Oregon. That's a toss up.
Oh, he's back.
Did you get your FAP session in to John Bones Jones or what?
Yeah, I was just getting so hot and steamy, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, give us your post nut clarity. How much?
Switch to Miocic now?
Yeah. Who's the first fighter where you would rather suck his dick than
We're still on this, by the way.
Well, I really thought you guys had moved on from this.
That's why he left. Now we're talking about college football playoff predictions.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very interesting.
Who do you have winning it all, Chase?
I mean, it's a crapshoot this year.
Crapshoot.
I'd like to see Oregon win. I like Dan winning. But, I mean, different teams have faltered at different times, and it's just going to be who shows up that week. And I think Texas is really good. I don't know if they have it to go all the way. I mean, Ohio State's really good. Georgia's still really good. Notre Dame's going to be probably still in there somehow. So
I heard that.
That's the chair. It's squeaky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a crapshoot. I mean,
yeah, I agree with you though, Chase. It's going to be the team that shows up that week. It's going to be a mess. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, whenever we see Boise State win it all, none of us are going to be upset.
That would be, again, that's the most entertaining outcome for sure.
That would be sick.
And that would be very poetic. The first mid-major group of 5 or whatever team to really shake up college football when they beat Oklahoma back in the, the Fiesta Bowl?
Yeah.
And, oh my God, what year was that? 2003, 2004?
I want to say it was either 02 or 03.
Yeah. But I mean, being the first G5 team to get in the playoff would be awesome for them. That'll be a full circle moment for them to actually get in there and make some noise. Would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be sick.
You've got
that's our take.
That's what I'm rooting for now is for Boise State.
Boise State.
Because right now Ohio State's a 5 seed. Imagine if they go up to Columbus and beat Ohio State. Ashton Jeanty runs for 250 yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible the way he's playing. Has anybody PED tested him yet?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
this dude is just running all over everybody.
Yeah. The NFL is very funny with that. Anytime someone has a crazy game, they the next immediate, okay, pee in this cup.
Yeah.
You were obviously on something when you caught 4 touchdown passes.
for 300 yards.
They did that for Josh Gordon. It just kept coming up as weed.
And they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good. All right, so Austin and I are taking Boise State. Chase, who are you taking?
I gotta take some. I gotta take someone. I'll take Oregon. I'll take the Ducks.
Yeah, I mean I hate to kind of go chalk here, but Oregon has a coach quarterback combo that I trust the most. I love. Oh my God, what is his name?
Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel. Yes, I feel like he's been a few different places and
He was
always
Oklahoma.
played. Yeah, Oklahoma and UCF, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, he's always played well where he's been. I like Cristobal, Oregon's coach. I think they're probably gonna be the one that wins it all. But I feel like we won't really have a great idea of that until the Big Ten championship, and we get to see them play either Indiana or Ohio State.
Yeah, that's going to be the one to watch out for.
Yeah, and if they lose that game, then I mean, again, it's wide open. And this is such a great year for this like expanded 12-team playoff to exist because it feels like you have so much more parity in that the like top 10 of teams to where it's going to be a lot of awesome football. There are a lot of teams that feel like they can win it all. And then, I mean, the first year you do have to have a G5 team in there. You have a Heisman candidate, Ashton Jeanty, that gets his shot. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't ruin it going to a 14-team playoff in future years. But, you know they're going to because it'll make more money.
Of course. Let's, real quick, let's transition to NFL because we're running out of time. Hot takes. Who's going to win it all this year? Who's going to be in the Super Bowl? Chase, starting with you.
Oh, God. Who's going to be in the Super Bowl?
I thought we were just doing playoffs.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't feel comfortable with Super Bowl pick yet, but
what playoffs?
playoffs, AFC, we got Chiefs, Ravens, Bills. They're going to be the ones to watch. NFC is going to be a little more up in the air. I think Cardinals are trending to make it right now. They got a cake schedule coming up.
Oh, yeah.
The final, 8 games of the season?
Yes.
8 weeks at least.
Because they added.
I don't know if they already had their bye.
So it's this week.
So yeah, it'll be a little more up in the air on the NFC side. Lions obviously a wagon right now. Big come from behind victory last week. I don't think Jared Goff is going to be doing that too much more often. Hopefully he'll go back to being Jared Goff, but yeah, he definitely relapsed into Jared Goff status. So hopefully he doesn't do that in crunch time in the playoffs. But
watching Jared Goff do that and then still win, that's crazy, and
it's impressive.
That's crazy just looking at that one game. But like them as a team, it's like, well, how do you beat them? If their quarterback can throw 5 interceptions and they still win, like what's the winning recipe?
How many more pieces can they lose and still have an effective pass rush?
Yeah,
is the thing. So they got to stay healthy for the rest of the way. And yeah, the AFC, there's going to be great matchups everywhere. If the Steelers make it in, they're going to be fun to watch.
Steelers might win the division.
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
The AFC is going to be a ton of fun, top to bottom. This playoff, no matter how it shakes out.
It's interesting how different the AFC and NFC are this year, because I look at the AFC and I see, okay, like you have your obvious like going to make the playoff teams: Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans. I think Steelers are for sure going to make it. And then after that,
could fumble the bag here. I mean,
but in that division, like who is going to challenge them? Because the Colts are terrible.
That's true.
The Titans are terrible, and I say the Colts are terrible. The Colts are okay, but the Titans and Jaguars are terrible. So like,
that's
the
true.
Texans are going to win that division. They'll lock up the 4 seed. They'll play their typical, Saturday.
They're going to be going on the road in the playoffs, though, most likely.
Not in the first round, because they'll be
with the division win. Yeah, true.
But if they win that first game, though, yeah, they'll most likely be on the road. But after like those top 5, I mean, look, you got Chargers, Broncos, Bengals, like a lot of these teams that are, kind of on the fringe, like 6-4, 5-5, whatever, that haven't really impressed a ton. And then the Bengals are sitting there at 4-6 outside looking in. And I think they make the playoffs as a 7th seed. So that's kind of the state of the AFC right now. The NFC, I mean, I think the division winner is going to be the Lions, Commanders. I think the 49ers get the division over the Cardinals. Okay. I think the Falcons win the division. And then I think the remaining 3 teams are the Vikings, Eagles, and Packers. But, and then the first 3 teams out I have the Cardinals, Rams, and Bucks. So, I mean, the Cardinals, Rams, and Bucks, I would take all 3 of those teams over the Chargers and Bengals right now, probably, in just a head-to-head matchup. So you have a lot of what seem like pretty good quality teams in the NFC. And here's what really opened my mind to this is that the Bengals are sitting there at 4-6, and I think they make the playoffs. I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. And the Packers are sitting there at 6-3 as the 7th seed. I'm like, we're going to miss the damn playoffs. It's like I'm terrified because I know that the Cardinals, Rams, and Bucks, they can all make a run, and the Packers slip up, again, then their season's over.
All I know is that the Chiefs are going to be handed their first loss to the Panthers, baby. Chase,
oh my goodness gracious,
are you with me?
No.
The only person
no
that can
faith
do
in
it.
our team. Just along for the ride. If they keep winning, we'll stick with them. If they keep losing, but I'm not getting any hopes or expectations up for our Prampers.
Is that game this weekend?
Yeah.
What's the line on it?
I have not looked.
We're probably 80-point underdogs if I had to guess.
I'm scared to look. Yeah, honestly, I'm scared to look.
Let's guess. I'm gonna say Chiefs minus 8.5. Let's look this up. Let's go.
That honestly sounds about accurate. It should be
10.5.
18, 19.5, but Chiefs aren't doing well, so.
The Panthers are
undefeated. It's weird to say an undefeated team is not doing well, but they are struggling.
I mean, they're finding weird ways to win.
Yeah, they are.
And when teams do that, that's how you know they're top tier. Oh man,
What's
Chiefs minus 11.5.
Ah, okay.
That's mean.
Well,
it's deserved. Deserved.
Yeah, I mean, we have all this discussion. The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I am interested to see how the playoffs lay out, how it lays out. But until then, I'm just enjoying the football that's upon us right now, fellas.
Yeah, what is it? Going into week 11. I mean, we only have 8 more weeks of this regular season.
We better enjoy every minute of it.
2 months. We have 2 months of regular season football left. Cherish it.
Yeah, enjoy it. I think it's a good stopping point. Fellas, Thank you, Austin. First guest appearance, everybody.
Yeah, fellas, thanks for having me on. Anytime you want me back, I'm more than happy to join you.
Of course, we might do something. JJ, thank you for joining us as well. We'll probably bring you back again later in the season, maybe when playoffs kick off, and we can see if our predictions were correct. So,
oh yeah.
All right, give us a like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, boys, again. Much love.